One sure way to make money online is through remote sales. I'm sure some of you, this is the first time you're hearing about remote sales. Working online has so changed that it has nothing to do with getting a remote job. Through sales, you can make a lot of money via remote sales. Now, what is remote sales? Remote sales is acting as a mediator, acting as a middleman from manufacturer, linking manufacturer and buyer directly. You are the facilitator and you sit down in the comfort of your home and make the deal happen. Now, how do you make the deal happen? You make the deal happen by first understanding the concept of sales. Sales is a universal language of business. Sales is so important in business that without sales, businesses cannot survive. So you can see how important you are in the scheme of things as far as business is concerned. So rather than searching for remote jobs, especially with the fact that AI is taking over a lot of tasks and a lot of roles, um, remote sales representative make so much money working online. Now, how does this happen? The first thing you need to do as a remote sales representative is to identify your area of interests, identify the products you have interest in selling. Like for me now, I sell agricultural equipment, solar products, um, construction equipment, trucks, evacuators, and what have you. These are some of my area of interest. These are some of the products that I sell very easily online. So that's the first step. Now, once you identify your area of interest, then you need to reach out to the manufacturer. Every business needs a sales representative, and this manufacturer or this company have it in their policy to work with sales representative, either on contract basis or on full-time basis. Now you come in on contract basis and you work practically remotely, and that's what makes your work interesting. That's what makes your work fun, because from the comfort of your home, you identify a manufacturer, you sign a contract with the manufacturer, and if possible, you get some trainings from the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer then, having seen you that you are competent enough to sell, they sign a contract with you, trusting that you will deliver on your sales assignment. Now, that manufacturer is also involved in marketing plans and marketing initiatives. They do ads, for example, and as a result of carrying out their marketing campaign, they have a list of prospects that they can share with you. Now, is that list of prospects that they share with you that you are going to work with? You convert that lead to a closed deal, to a closed sale. So basically, this is the concept of remote sales representation, or working as a remote sales representative. In other clients, they call it high ticket remote sales, high ticket sales rep. But I see it as remote sales representation, or remote sales, working as a remote sales representative. And that's how I work online basically. Now, with this concept of remote sales, how do you make deals happen? Now, I'm going to show you briefly how it happens. You um, you can find these companies, you can find these organizations or these manufacturers, people that are into the business that you have interest in. Like I said, um, I like selling agricultural equipment, construction equipment, trucks, evacuators and what have you, solar products and all that. And there are several products, several manufacturing companies that do quite a lot, So it must not be similar to what I do. Identify a product that you can easily sell. Now, how do you sell this product? Now, once the manufacturer gives you a list of prospects, then you reach out to them. Now, is that strategy of reaching out to them that I would be unveiling in my subsequent uh, videos. So please subscribe to my channel and stay expectant on very valuable information I'm going to be giving you as a sales representative. Now, but for this video, I'm just going to take you through a very easy way to use Facebook to find a manufacturer or a company and start your remote sales remote sales career using Facebook, for example. Now let's look at this simple Facebook step that you can get started in your career as a remote sales representative. Now you can see that Facebook has a lot of ads going on. If you have an account on Facebook, when you just scroll down through your page, you see a lot of ads. And I noticed that there are a lot of ads coming from China, manufacturers that into one thing or the other, selling used drugs, selling solar products, selling um, uh, uh, bottle production plants, all kinds of ads on Facebook, especially from China. So you can get started with Facebook, go through all the ads, look for a product that you're comfortable to sell with, and pitch the manufacturer. Right now, in my subsequent videos, I'm going to teach you how to pitch the manufacturer. Okay. And pitching the manufacturer, it comes with a lot of skills and experience, and using the right terms to make the manufacturer understand that, look, you are of value to their business, because every business cannot survive without sales. So when I see people struggling looking for remote jobs, applying, sending a lot of CVs, why don't you go into remote sales and see how you're going to make money better via remote sales? It's not as easy as it sounds, to be very honest, but once you keep doing it, you keep getting better at it, and trust me, it is a sure way to make money online, rather than submitting multiples of CVs and job hunting online and never getting a gig. But once you put yourself out as a remote sales agent or as a remote sales representative, trust me, businesses and manufacturers are out there looking for an opportunity to get a market share in your country. Because China, for example, they are known for manufacturing, and China is looking for countries where they can capture a market share, right? So as a remote sales agent or a remote sales representative, your expertise is not just limited to selling finished products, because Africa is known as almost like a dumping ground. We also have companies that are into manufacturing in Africa. You can reach out to those companies, right? Can reach out to those companies and pitch to the company as you know, pitch to them, offering them your service as a remote sales agent, or as a remote sales marketer or remote sales representative, and sign a deal with them. And I tell you, your scope of operation is not just limited to selling products manufactured from outside the country, but selling products manufactured from your host country or your country to other country. So you work remotely, right? Making deals across the borders of your country, selling from China, right? And selling from your country to other parts of the country. So that's basically your scope of operation as a remote sales representative or as a remote sales agent, right? Now, this is an example of how to easily get started through Facebook, right? Now, this is my pitch. And in few minutes, in less than 30 minutes, I got a response. This is a response from my WhatsApp. And the manufacturer or the company is already interested in doing business with me. And that's how remote sales go. And once you build trust, you keep asking the right question. In my subsequent videos, I'm going to be teaching you on how to ask the right question so that you don't deal with scammers, right? So that's another angle we're going to be looking at, because there are a lot of scammers online posing as manufacturers, right? So you need to ask the right questions to know that these people are legit, and do a lot of video calls on WhatsApp so that you can really, because WhatsApp video calls does not lie, right? So do a lot of, if somebody says is a manufacturer in China, for example, do a lot of video calls online and ask the right questions. I'm going to do subsequent videos. Please subscribe on how to ask the right questions so that you know you're dealing with the right people. So this is how I did it using a Facebook exam. There are other numerous ways I'm going to be doing my subsequent videos on how to pitch a manufacturer. This is just an example of Facebook. Now you can also pitch a manufacturer, like I said, as a remote sales agent or a remote sales representative. However, the nomenclature suits your description of who you are. But as far as you're working remotely, in sales, you can coin your own prestigious term for what you represent online as a remote sales agent, right? So, like I said, you are not just focused on making a deal from China or other parts of the world and selling to your country, and looking for buyers in your country. There are manufacturers in your country that do export, right, and sell locally as well. So your scope of operation is not just limited to making deals abroad, China, for example. Your scope of operation also covers making deals, for export and locally. So you can also use Google Map, right? So in my next video, I'm going to be talking extensively. This is an example of using Google Map, right, to make a pitch to a manufacturer and sell both via export and sell locally. So follow me on more exciting videos. I'm going to be talking more on my experiences, talking more on my challenges as a remote sales agent or a remote sales representative, how I pitch, how I make sure I don't fall into the wrong hands, and how I get good deals, good commissions. And I tell you, right from the comfort of your home, you can make good income as a remote sales representative. So stay tuned on this channel, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and you're going to get more value-based content. Thank you very much. Smile with the Connect.